Hello, this is Greg Shoemaker with MegaCon Games, and today I will be showing you how to build the Waza Daimyo figure for the Mercs Recon Assassination Protocol game. The first thing you want to do when building any miniatures is gather up your tools. In this case, recommend a sharp X-Acto knife. I use a number 11 blade. Normally you want a couple of files. I use a round one and a flat one to get to different kinds of surfaces. Some Zap-A-Gap plastic super glue. I use the medium to give it a little time to dry and fill in gaps. This particular style is for filling in gaps. And then a paper towel. Used to clean up any spills or any too much excess glue on a piece. Alright, so once you've gathered your tools, then you want to gather up the pieces of the miniature and make sure you have them all. In this case we have the body, the leader's tactical nuke, his weapon arm, and the base. When you get your bases, they're going to have a little stub of flash on the back side of them, and that easily comes off by twisting and pulling on it a little bit. Comes right off. The next step you want to do is you want to take all of the pieces of the figure and wash them in warm soapy water. That's to make sure to remove any chemicals that were used in the molding process so that it will more easily take paint. After that, you want to take your X-Acto knife and you want to look at the figure and find any places on the figure that are a little bit rough. In this case, there's not a whole lot to it. It's in pretty good shape. You might find a few mold lines, but this model is actually really good about not having too much in the way of mold lines. Alright, next I'm going to take a look at the weapon, his gun arm, and it looks like right off the top there's a little bit of flash here. So I'll just clean it off with the knife. And there's a mold line going right down the top of the weapon. There's times like that where I will take one of my files and just run it real lightly across the surface of the model. You don't want to do it too roughly or too much, because then you start to lose some of the details on the model. Alright, looks like there's a little on the bottom as well. Okay. Take a look at the tactical nuke here. Just a little bit of rough edges on the bottom here. After I scrape with the knife, I'll go over it lightly with the file. Alright, got that. Then take a look at the base here. These bases are really nice, and it seems okay. Alright, the next step in the process is you want to dry fit your models. You want to test to make sure that the pieces are all going to go together. before you glue them all together to make sure you've got, one, that you have the right pieces, and two, that they're going to go together the way they're out. So where's the model on the base? Okay. Then we've got his weapon arm here. These models are really nice in that they've got pegs and slots that those pegs go in, so they're very coordinated, very difficult to mess up. So you gotta take and slide his gun arm in there. Alright, so there's his gun arm. And then the tactical nuke here. You'll notice on the back of the model there are two open positions, open spots, and on the missile there are two coordinating pegs. Now you just line them up, push them in like that, and there we go. His tactical nuke on his back there. Alright, now that we see that the pieces can go all together, we'll take one piece and I like to do a little glue down the sides of the tab on the bottom there. So a little dab there, a little dab there, and then a couple little dabs on the back. Now when doing this, any of the models that have a flat spot on the foot that will touch the base itself, you want to make sure you dab a little glue on that there as well. Alright. So, got the base on. Next we'll try with the gun arm. Now with these, I tend to put a small dab of glue inside the location where they're going to go. And if the position seems a little flimsy, you might hold it in place for a few seconds while it's still drying and filling up the gap a little bit. Some hobbyists will also use products that accelerate the drying process. They're typically called a zip kicker or something like that. I also find that sometimes even a little bit of saliva on the post that's going into the hole will help with the connection. And last we have the missile. So a little dab of glue in each of the holes. Hold it in place. Try not to glue it to your fingers. There you go. And next you want to leave it on the table or your workspace and let it dry for probably about a half an hour or so before you do any more work on it. And there you go. Your model is finished and you can move on to the next one.